Hi guys, welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System 22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got a great one for you today. We've done several of these in the past. I'm going to combine them today. I'm going to show you 3 different ways of adding text over an image. We've got 2 without code and 1 using code. Really useful things to know. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, let's go down to where we want to work. I'm going to add a new row. To add a new row, click on any existing row, hit the little green button. I'm going to throw 3 columns in this row. And for our first example today, I'm going to use a text module. Fantastic. Well, let's pop in what we want it to say. And I'll recreate this one above here. I'm just saying my next car. Fantastic. We'll just edit that text. I'm going to hit the little paintbrush associated with it. It'll take us straight to the design element for that text. I'm going to make mine semi-bold. I'm going to capitalize it. I'm going to make it about 18 pixels. Obviously adjust to taste. I want to pop it in the middle. I'm actually going to turn it white in color. It's going to disappear into that background, but we'll bring it back in a moment. It's still going to be there. It's just going to be white on white. Turn it white, just like that. Okay, let's go and put the image in and then position this text where we want it. Now let's go back to our content. I'm going to put a background in. We'll put in the image that we actually want there. Third tab across is image. Click little plus. Choose the image that we want. Obviously, it's not high enough now. You see that text come back there. So let's make it the actual size we want it. I'm going to use padding to do this. So if I go over to my design, I'm going to go down to spacing and padding. I'm going to put 150 pixels on the top. And I think I use 8 pixels on the bottom. In fact, I actually use 148. I seem to remember that one above. That's exactly where we want it. Now that's fine. You can read it on this image, but if you happen to have a light colored image, you're going to lose that text in there. And there's a really neat little trick that you can use with a gradient overlay if you just want to have a bit of background color behind that text so it stands out. Still in our text module, go back to our content now and back to our background where we put the image in. I'm going to hit background gradient. I'm going to add a background gradient. Just want to roll a little bit down. There's a little switch here that says place gradient above the background image. We want to switch that one to on. As you can see, the image has disappeared there. What I'm going to do, we've got blue at the top and green on the bottom. I'm going to turn that blue into a transparent color. I'm going to turn the green into a black. I'm going to take the opacity down a little bit so we've got a hint of the image through it, maybe down to about 80%, something like that, adjust to taste. But I want a definitive line. I don't want it to be sort of fading out and then this fading in. I want to see that image really well. We want a definitive line a bit like we've got here. So I'm going to drag my transparent stop by left clicking on it and just putting it down probably to about 78%. I think I used before. As you see, this is really clear here. If you're all right with that, we can leave it just like there. If you want a complete line, we can drag our dark stop right over the top of our transparent stop there, so they're on top of each other. And make sure the transparent's the bigger of the two. And you've got a definitive line there. Now that looks great on desktop and it'll look great on mobile, but when we go to tablet, we're going to have to adjust this. So let's do that. I'm actually going to go to my spacing over in design again, where we put in the padding top. I'm going to roll over where it says padding. I'm going to hit the little icon that looks like a mobile phone. I'm going to switch it to tablet view. Now let's roll down to that image we had. It's right there. It's way too squashed on tablet. So I'm actually going to double the amount of padding I got. Remember that 148 because we want to put that back in on mobile. So on tablet, I'm going to double that. I'm going to round it up to 300 pixels until it's about the shape that you want it. Then if we go to mobile, we need to put that back to 148. Just drag it back up to where we were working there because it's a little tall there. So again, I'm just going to put 148. Fantastic. That's back to normal. If we go back to tablet view and look at that one more time, our gradient's a bit messed up there. It's not exactly where I want it. I mean, if you're happy with that, fine, but I'd rather have mine more like it was up here. So to do that, we just need to go back into our content, to our background. And again, once you're in the background, roll over the little mobile phone icon, left click on it, make sure we're in tablet mode, and we can adjust these stops to where we want them. If we go back into our gradient now, let's just pull the black down a little bit to ish where we want it. And then we got that fuzz on the top. To get rid of the fuzz and make a definitive line, again, we just need to drag that over the top of it. A little bit too much there, I believe. To make sure that the transparent one's on top, just drag it slightly to the left of the black one, or drag the black one to the right of the transparent one. Drag this up a little bit more. Put the transparent one on top. I think that's going to do it. We just want to make sure on mobile, we may need to readjust it to where it was, because it usually inherits it from the size that's above it. Yeah, we just need to drag that up a bit on mobile. We'll drag it back to where it was. Perfect. That looks fine to me. So that's going to look fine on all devices now. Let's save our little module here. Go back down. And there's our first one. As you can see, no coding involved. Really nice little easy one to do. So for our second one, I'm actually going to use an image module. Let's add an image module. Going to roll down. Here's the image module. Throw in the image you want. That's great. Decide whether you want to open it in a link or a lightbox. Let's open this one in a lightbox. Now to add the text to this one, I'm going to use a bit of absolute positioning. So I'm going to click on our existing image module. I'm going to hit the little dark button to add a new module. Again, I'm going to use a text module. Put in the text that you want in there. My other car. Now background wise on this one, I'm going to make it black. I'm going to take the opacity down a little bit, so when we scoot it up over that image, we'll see a bit of the image behind it. Again, I'm going down to about 80%, 81, whatever works for you. Now I want to be able to see that text. I want to make this slightly wider so it's similar to our one over there. So again, let's just hit the little paintbrush. I'll take it straight to the text. Again, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to make it semi-bold. I'm going to make it capitalized. I'm going to make it white in color. I made 18 pics, I think we used. And I want it in the middle. Now it's a bit skinny, so I need to add some padding top and bottom to this. Still in the design tab. We close up our text now. We can go down to spacing. Padding top and bottom. I think I just used 8 pics again on that. I'm not quite sure. Hit the chain, it'll do the opposite. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, well, we want this over the top of this. How are we going to do that? Really easy. Again, no code involved in this today. We're going to go over to advanced. I'm going to go down to position this time. I'm going to change it from default to absolute. And it's banged it on the top. If that's where you want it, that's fine. You can leave it there. You can have it in the middle. But we want to put it on the bottom. I'm going to use bottom middle right there. Now it's a little bit deep. We've got to offset it a bit because we've got a gutter on the bottom of this column here. So to do that, very easy. We've got vertical offset here. just drag it up to where you want it, or at least get it close. And then you can increment up and down with the little arrows to get it exactly where you want. And this particular one, you don't need to adjust because it'll be there on tablet and mobile also. How easy was that? Now for our third one here, we're going to use a little bit of code. So let's add another image module. Roll down. There's our image module. Pull this over here so you can see. And throw in again whichever image you want in there. Now this time we are going to use a bit of code. I'm going to go over to my advanced. I'm going to go to my custom CSS. I'm going to click on the module elements tab here. I'm going to roll down. We've got the before, we've got the main element, then we've got after. This is what I'm going to be working with today, and they call these pseudo elements. So we've got to tell it we want some content, colon. Then we've got to tell it what content we want. So I'm going to put a little inverted comma in there. Inside there, we can tell it what we want. I'm going to say, my old car. Obviously, put in what you want to say. Let's put a little semicolon in here. If you don't put a semicolon in, it will not read the next line of code here. So I'm going to say position, absolute, a bit like we did in the last one. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's actually appeared up here on the right-hand side. And it's all jumbled up, but we'll fix that in a moment. Now you can choose a font family if you want to by putting font family and then the font you want to use. I'm going to leave mine on the default, which I think with Divi is Open Sans. But I will give it a size. And we've been using 18, so let's say font dash size 18 pixels, 18 px. Fantastic. As you may have noticed, that's got a little bit bigger now. Now I made all the rest of my fonts semi-bold, I think. So to do that with this, we can change the font weight. Just say font dash weight. I think semi-bold is 600. That's what I used before. It looked pretty similar anyway. And again, that's bolded it up. I know you can't discern what's going on there. So let's position it so we can actually see it. I'm going to say left 50%, which will bring it, the left corner of it, to the middle of our image module here. Left 50%. As you can see, the left corner is right about the middle of our image there. I want it to be fairly close to the bottom. I'm guessing this is about 30 pix or 35 pix. And what I used before was 18 pix from the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and say bottom 18 pixels. Now, you can barely see it there. It's put it 18 pixels up from the bottom there. But I also want to adjust it so it's dead central. I'm going to pull it back by half of its width. I'm going to actually push it down by half of its height. To do that, we're going to use some transform translate. So semicolon, I'm going to say transform, colon translate. Then we're going to open some round brackets. I'm going to pull it back by half of its width, which would be negative 50%, negative 50 and the percent sign. Then I'm going to put a comma. And I'm going to adjust the height too by just putting in 50% there, 50%. Fantastic. That's pulled it back to where I want it right there. Now I know you can't see that very well. Let's give it a color so you can see it. I'm just say color white. Hashtag FFF. Great. Well, that stands out okay there. I think it's a little bit high up. We'll adjust that in a moment. I want to give it a background like we've given it before. So let's say background black, which is hashtag 000. It's actually 6 zeros, but with CSS3, you only need to put 3 in there if they're all the same. Same with that white, it's 6 Fs. And we can't really see anything because we need to give it a bit of padding to give it a bit of height. So I've been using 18 pixels. Let's try that again. Padding, we'll give it 18. We can always adjust it, px. There, we can see that background nicely there. Yeah, it's a little bit too high up, obviously. But I do want this thing to stretch for the whole width of our image here. So I'm going to give it width 100, width 100%. As you can see, that's stretched the whole way. It's even stretched. We've got, like I said before, we've got a bit of guttering on these columns, which is space below and to the sides here. or we can hide that in a minute by hiding the overflow. Let's get this the way we want it. So width 100% is fine. I want to align that text center. So we'll say text, align, center. Perfect. Let's drop this down a little bit. 18 pixels is too much. Let's try 10. I've got 28 up here. I meant to put in 18. That's why it's a little high. Let's put a 1 in there. Yeah, just where I want it. Fantastic. Now, with these, I had a bit of transparency so you could see a hint of the image behind it. If you want to do that with this, what we can do is put the other 3 zeros on our black there. Then if we put a number from 00 to 99 on the end, you can choose a bit of opacity. For instance, if I put 50 on the end, you'll see it's pretty opaque. I'm going to take that up to about 90, darken it down a bit. That's cool. It's almost where I want it. Like I say, you can go up higher if you want to. Let's try 99, see if that makes a difference. Just a little bit darker. And these little bits sticking out from the side. While we're in the builder, you may see those, but we certainly don't want to see them on the front end. To make sure they're not going to be there, still in our advanced tab, let's close up our custom CSS here. We'll go down to visibility just down below. We've got horizontal and vertical overflow. I'm going to turn both of those to hidden. That way anything that falls outside of our image there will not be seen. Like I say, you may see it on the back end here while we're in the builder, but once I go to the front end, you will not see that. So let's save this and see what we got going on here. I'm going to save the changes. Save draft or publish if you're ready. Let's have a look on the front end. Roll on down to our little images there. Perfect. That first one, we just use a text module with an image in the background. Our second one here, we use an image module and some absolute positioning with a text module over the top. And of course, this has got a lightbox enabled. You can pop it out into a lightbox. And our third one here, we just use an image module. I didn't enable a lightbox on it, but you could do if you wanted. And we use the pseudo element just to add our code like that. And as you saw earlier, we had to adjust this one for tablet and mobile. These two are going to work perfectly fine. So let's just check this. I'm going to hit my F12 key. Here we are on our iPad Air again. Here's our 3 original images working fine. Here's our new ones. That's our first one. Here's our second one and our third one here. And again, of course, if you've got a lightbox enabled, you can pop it out. And on a mobile phone, there's our third one, second one, first one. That's a really handy thing to know. Like I say, there's several different ways of doing this, and there's 3 of them for you. And for the code for this one, I'll pop it down below the video as usual. Anybody wants to copy and paste it and just modify it to your needs, you're more than welcome to. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Plenty of more videos coming. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video just like this one. So once again, thanks for watching. This has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Have a great day.